This is a lesson on measuring and classifying angles. And our objective today is for you, the students, to be able to classify angles as either obtuse, acute, or right. And then you're also going to be able to use a protractor to measure angles. All right, in order to succeed in this lesson, you're going to have to know how to line up a protractor on one of the rays of an angle. And then you'll have to remember acute, obtuse, and right angles from 4th grade. And then also how to hold a measurement tool. And the angles are, first of all, acute, right? And acute angles are anything that's less than 90 degrees. And what we're doing is we're measuring the inside of this angle, right? Not the outside. And you can see that the angle is made from two rays that come off the same point. Right, and that point where the two rays are coming out of is called the vertex. And that's key because we're going to be lining up part of our protractor with the vertex and the other part of the protractor with one of the rays. And that's going to be a necessary skill in a moment. All right, next angle we're going to review is obtuse. And an obtuse angle is anything greater than 90 degrees. And again, we're measuring the inside part of the angle. And that has to be greater than 90. And the place where the two rays come out of it is called the vertex. Next is a right angle. And in a right angle, you'll see this little square inside the angle. And that tells you that that is a perfect right angle. So if you see that, we're dealing with a right angle. And a right angle is exactly 90 degrees. And then the vertex is, again, right where the two rays come out of. And then the last one is called a straight angle. And a straight angle is a straight line, but what it is exactly a 180 degree angle. And we're measuring from here to there. Right? And then the vertex is the one that's right in the middle, but it goes out straight in one direction, straight in the other. And that's why it's called a straight angle. All right, here's our first guided practice, and it is classifying angles. And so let's just take a look. Number one, what kind of angle is that? Is that an acute angle, less than 90 degrees, obtuse angle, more than 90 degrees, or a right angle, which is exactly 90 degrees? And if you would like, you can hold up a piece of paper to the screen right now. And I'm going to grab a piece of paper here that has 4 90-degree corners. And it's going to line it up on one of the corners right on the vertex there. All right, so 90 degrees would be like that. And this one's definitely less than 90 degrees. And so we're going to name that angle acute. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Our paper again. Well, I'll put the corner right in the vertex, and it looks like it's forming an exactly 90 degree angle. And so if that's the case, then we have a right angle. All right, number 3. Taking a look at number 3 again with our square corner there. Put it right on the vertex. And now our angle is forming something that is more than 90 degrees. Okay, less than 90 degrees would be not all the way up to 90 degrees. So this one actually goes past. Again, we're measuring from one of the rays to the other and see how it passes the 90 degrees. And so that would be called obtuse. And then the last one's pretty close to 90 degrees. So let's just put our square corner up to the vertex and see if we're measuring from one ray to the other. It doesn't quite reach all the way up to the 90 degree line. So this one is also an acute angle. Using a protractor to measure things, right? And so there's a lot of numbers on there, and numbers are used to measure. And the confusing thing about a protractor is that the same line has two numbers. Like this 60 degree line here is also a 120 degree line. This 70 degree line is also a 110 degree line. That 71 degree our 69 degree line is also a 111 degree line. And so each one of these lines on the outside has two different measures to it, and that gets confusing. It shouldn't be confusing, though, if you, number one, line up your zero line with the ray. So where is the zero line on this? It's the line that extends along the bottom is your zero line, not the bottom of the protractor, the line that extends along the bottom and it goes right through zero over here. All right, so when we have a ray, I'm going to get a ray here. I'm going to make one, oh, let's make a ray on there. All right, we have to line up that ray with the bottom of the protractor. All right, so we move our protractor until it lines up exactly with zero. And then the vertex, which is the end of a ray, goes right in the middle. All right, that's number two, key item number two. So where is that vertex? It's right here. All right, that forms the vertex. There's usually a little hole in the protractor, but there's some lines that cross where that hole would be, and you try to put the dot right in that where the two lines would meet if there's a hole there. If there's no hole there and you have two lines, then just put the dot or the vertex of the angle right in there. That's the key right there. And then we measure from the zero line. All right, so we find the zero line and we measure up from there. So here is the zero line, and so if we count up one space, that's 1 degree, and then 2 spaces is 2 degrees, and 3 and 4 and 5, and notice how the 5 is a little bit longer, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the 10 is even longer than the 5 is, and so we can get used to counting by either 10s or by 5s. You don't want to count by 1s all the way over here to, let's say, 130. It's just going to take you too long. Usually what you do is you just count from 0 to 10, to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 and so on, and we just ignore these numbers. All right, these numbers are for when the line or the ray is measured from the other zero. All right, so if it's on this zero, then we use these numbers: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. 90 is going to be the same for both, and then 100 and so on. But we set this one up for this zero. So we're going to measure with these numbers. All right, so always measure from the zero line. And then if you have another ray coming off that same vertex and it's going through that there, we're going to measure it at 10, 20, 30, 40. It's at the 50 degree line, or 50 degree marking here. And then anything in between those, 5s and 10s, you're going to have to count. So if it's a little bit past 50, let's say it's at, I'm moving the whole thing now. I don't want to move the whole thing. I just want to move this. Say it's at the next one over. So it's 50 and then 50, then 51, and then 52. So that would be a 52 degree line. And again, measuring from the zero. All right, here's our guided practice. We're going to be measuring these angles. First of all, you have to ask yourself, is it an acute or an obtuse angle? So take a look at number 5. All right, that's an obtuse angle, and so I know the measurement's going to be over 90 degrees. And when I get my protractor, I'm going to move my protractor to where the vertex is right in the middle, and then one of the rays is aligned to the zero line. So either this ray or that ray is going to be lined up with the bottom part, not the bottom edge, but the bottom line on my protractor. And so I'll just pick one that I'm used to, which is this. All right, now I have my vertex in the middle, protractor aligned with the zero, and then I'll measure from the zero. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. That's at 130 degrees. And so I label that by, let's see if I can write right over this. I can't. Okay, so it's 130, and then the little circle up at the top there means degrees. So that's 130 degrees. Let's take this protractor and line it up with number 6 now. First of all, asking a question. is it acute or obtuse? This one is a little shorter than the square corner, so this one should be an acute angle. So I know my answer is going to be something less than 90. So I'm not going to pick, something in the hundreds, because that's not the right angle for that. All right, moving over my protractor to where the vertex is at the center down there. Okay, and then aligning my protractor to one of the rays. Okay, and then the other thing you have to understand is if the other ray is not going through the protractor, it's going out of the protractor, then you got to keep spinning the protractor to align with the other ray. Okay, so now it's at 0, vertex in the middle, and now I'm counting up from 0, and I go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and that's at 60 degrees. And so it's an acute angle, and I got a number that's less than 90. All right, and so it takes a lot of practice measuring with the protractor, but the key is, again, lining up one of the rays with the 0, putting the vertex in that center spot at the bottom of your protractor, and then measuring from the 0 up to where the line is, not from the 180 to 170 and so on. All right, that's going to be key.